Hey, Coach. Hello. This is the first time we've seen each other here. Coach. Coach, you were a doctor? To be fair, he looks a lot better than that, and he looks a lot better like this than in casual clothes. He looks pretty damn good in that, not gonna lie. Now that you mention it, he did seem to know his way around when he was looking at my shoulder in the nurse's office. It makes sense if he was actually a doctor. Come to think of it, our teacher called him Ire-sensei, didn't she? Well, yeah, so I'm more or less a doctor here. Doctors have it really good, you know. You get to see and touch all the young, silky, smooth skin. Fuck off. I can inject them with a weird chemical, then make them my slaves and have them be my personal maids. You're great. Thank you very much. Just seeing that made my cold go away. I'll be leaving now. Polite bow. Whoa, wait. Mahabara, a joke, it was a joke. Come, sit down and let me take a look at you. I'll need to use my stethoscope to show me that silky smooth chest, Mahabara. For some reason, I felt really relieved. After that insane night, as much as I thought everything had gone crazy, Coach was here doing the same thing he always did. I was very happy for that. You don't seem to have a cold. Actually, those scrapes and cuts all over you seem to be the painful thing. Don't tell me you were playing in the bushes with short sleeves and shorts. I mean, I can't say for sure you haven't been infected with tetanus. What? As I was chasing that man last night, I kept being scraped by bits of trees. He could have tetanus? Oh, fuck, don't tell me that's like a... I know what tetanus is. I don't know if it causes hallucinations, though. Because that would be fucked up. Well, no. Wait. If you got... Fuck me. I'm so confused. What happened? Because now then just realized, if he was chasing him, then he did... God, I'm gonna go back with my theory. He didn't actually kill him. He killed the wrong person. I didn't realize I had so many cuts. You went a little crazy at the festival yesterday. Enjoy that while you're young. Once again, I apparently went to the festival. Coach, did you go too? To the festival? Yeah, of course I did. I may be a doctor, but I'm also on the Watanagashi Executive Committee. Did you see me there? This coach was the same coach that I'd always known. I felt like I could trust him more than my weird friend, so I asked. Well, actually, I was drinking in the main tent with the chairman and the others the whole time. I didn't go out to see the festival at all. I don't think I saw you. Oh. That was a strange question. Did you have too much to drink and forgot what happened last night? And underage too, you bad child. Coach let out a laugh. He didn't laugh in an unnatural way like Mion and Rena did. Coach was okay. He was the coach from the world I knew. He wasn't someone from this abnormal world. I am so fucking confused. What's happening? Well, this is all might seem a little weird to you, but I want you to hear me out without laughing. Yeah, go ahead. I greatly welcome any shy, bashful worries you might have as you come into your secondary sex characteristics. Ah, good. Fetish talk. Nothing like it. Could it be possible that I have an identical twin? Coach hadn't expected that question at all and couldn't say anything for a moment. But then he smiled calmly and quietly answered. Well, I mean, probably. Anything's possible in the world. I mean, there's so many variants and characteristics in humans. It's fairly possible that someone could look like you. This is just superstition, but I've heard that everyone has two other people in the world who look just like them. Oh, that's cool. I hope I meet my two people that look just like me one day, because that would be pretty fucking awesome. If there was, I'd certainly like to meet him, though. Also, there are plenty of fairy tales where a person's double appears. The German ones about doppelgangers are probably the most famous. Doppelgangers? Yeah, they look exactly like another person. Apparently they herd misfortune, and if you meet one, you're sure to die soon. I think that's how it went. When you meet them, you're sure to die soon. Okay, never mind, I don't want to meet mine. The story ended directly in death, plain and simple, and it made my spine tingle. Coach wasn't saying it to scare me, though. He was just offering a casual anecdote, but that made it feel all the more real. God, this game. It's confusing the fuck out of me. Like, really fucking badly. I just don't know what to think. Fuck. Have you heard of one of those things showing up in Hinamizawa? What? Well, I can't say that I have. Coach must have thought he was being teased, and so he laughed in an energetic way. Exaggerated way. But when I didn't smile along with him, his laughter steadily grew fainter. I'm sorry, well, I was sort of being serious. No, I apologize for laughing. Was there something you were worried about? I wondered if I should tell him, but then after resolving myself one final time, I slowly spoke. I didn't go to the festival yesterday. Is that right? Well, there will be one next year, and then you can. That's not what I meant. I didn't go to the festival, but according to everyone else, I was there. Could that be even possible? After blinking his eyes in amazement, Coach thought seriously about what I was trying to say. I'd like to place you under psychological evaluation for the next couple days. I hope you understand. That's what a good doctor should do. 'Cause you're fucking insane. Though I feel like I'm going insane. And he answered, choosing his words carefully. Let me make sure I have this straight. Mayabara, you went to the Watanagashi Festival but don't remember it. Am I right? I was trying to say something completely different, but I suppose any sane person would come to that conclusion. That night Keiichi Mayabara was actually at the festival, but I was saying I didn't go. That obviously meant my memories of going there had failed me. Obviously. But that was absolutely impossible. That vivid act I had committed during the downpour couldn't possibly have been an illusion. Don't tell him you killed him, just tell him I vividly remember doing other stuff during the festival. But now today it says that I was in the festival instead of doing these vivid acts. Like say fucking doing gardening. But now turns out I was actually at the festival and not gardening. You know, something like that. Make something up. All those scrapes on my body prove it, as does the fact the bat wasn't in the locker. No, that's not it, Coach. I really didn't go to the festival. Please don't take offense, Mayabara. Have you ever had an experience where you were suddenly somewhere unfamiliar and you didn't remember why? No. And I didn't lose my memories of anything. Or anything. Because while the festival was going on, I was definitely doing something else. It wasn't like I was asleep or unconscious or anything. You're certain you were doing something else? I know I'm being awfully rude, but are you sure you're not mistaken? I know I'm not. My memories are clear as day and they were real. During the festival, you weren't at the shrine and you were doing something, somewhere else. Can you definitely prove that? That's right. Well, you can say, I took some stuff out of like a storage shed, and now those things aren't in the storage shed anymore after I removed them. Because I also threw them away. You know, just something like that. Yeah, I can. Just say, yeah, I can prove that to a certain point it's not there. That's right, thinking it through brought me to this. There was only one way to prove that I really wasn't at the festival yesterday, and that was to show that there was no doubt I had killed her uncle. Coach saw me struggling to answer, and his eyes looked a little cold. I guess they would. And after all, from Coach's perspective, I was just a weirdo spouting nonsense. Would you like to lay down? Maybe you should relax and take it easy for a bit. Sorry, I didn't really come here to lay down. You seem to be a little worked up. Why don't I give you a sedative that'll let you sleep for a bit? That way... I'm not being strange. Coach seemed to realize he was treating me like a deviant, and he raised his voice. I apologize if I've offended you, so please calm down. I definitely didn't go to the festival. That's the truth. I understand, so please calm down. Take a deep breath. No, you don't understand at all. Coach was stunned and stared in stupefaction. I do understand, Mahabara. You didn't go to the festival yesterday. Is that right? I believe you. Coach jotted down a brief note in his records. He was writing it in German, so that his patient wouldn't know what it said. Oh, fuck you. Oh, that's awesome. Or it could have just been in like really neat handwriting, but that's awesome. That's why I want to fucking learn a badass foreign language so I can do that. Like just say words and shit like that. Write down stuff and no one knows what I actually meant. And then when they ask me, I can just lie and bullshit my way into it and say, oh, I really meant that. But I can make a good guess as to what he wrote. You won't believe me until I tell you everything I was doing at the time, will you? No, I believe you. Please sit down. Before I sat, I tilted my head back a little. The blood in my face all drained out and I had quieted down. After taking a deep breath, I made sure that I was calm now. It would have been impossible for me to be at the festival, because at the time I was... Should I tell him or not? No. I really didn't want to go on living like this, feeling this horrible. And I said them, the final fatal words. Because I was killing Satoko's uncle at the time. Fuck. No. No. Why? You're an idiot. Fuck, no. Such a stupid thing to do. You're an idiot. I could smell the concrete in the room and I could feel the air around us sharpen. Nobody moved. Only the sound of the clock ticking told us time hadn't stopped. God, I hate it when it's quiet enough that you can hear a clock. I hate that feeling. With his mouth wide open, Coach even forgot to blink for a little while. You killed Satoko's uncle. Yeah. It's fine now, Keiichi Mahabara. Don't hesitate. Admit it with all your strength. Yeah. Last night I did it. I killed him. I spoke clearly and fluidly. I could easily tell that Coach's mind had gone completely blank. Why would you... No! That was a foolish question. I believed it was the most direct method of saving Satoko, so I carried it out. I don't have any regrets. I see. Coach smiled thinly and nodded a bit. So I couldn't have been at the festival. I left the brightness of my house for the darkness of the outside. After that, I dug holes, made phone calls. I had my hands full. Then I attacked him, killed him, and buried him. It was pouring hard at the time. The festival started that evening, but was suspended due to the rain. But there were no gaps in my memories. From the late afternoon until it started to rain, there was no time for me to possibly have gone to the festival. And those wounds, are they from that? Yeah. There's a road through the forest near Satoko's house. I attacked him there. He ran, but I chased him and finally killed him near the road that leads to town. Is that true? Killing her uncle, it wasn't some wild fantasy. I could tell that Coach didn't believe me. So I spoke slowly, not letting myself grow excited. It's true. I killed him with Satoshi's bat. I threw it and the uncle's motorbike into the swamp. I dug a hole, killed him, and buried him. I did it all by myself. Satoko's uncle drove past you on a motorbike, did he? Then you predicted he'd do that and just waited. I assumed he wouldn't be leaving his house that day, so I lied to him over the phone to get him out. You called him, but your house is so far away from Satoko's. I wouldn't think he'd be able to make it there, as so soon after calling him. I used the phone closer to where I was going to attack him, the one at school. But Maebara, it was Sunday. Wouldn't the school have been locked up? A forest ranger happened to go inside for a bit. I slipped in when I had the chance. After that, Coach grilled me on a few different things regarding the incident. He made sure to question me carefully, looking for any contradictions in my account. I'll believe you. What you did yesterday doesn't seem like a dream. I explained everything, including minor details that only someone who had actually committed the act could explain. I could, of course. It was only yesterday. Coach realized that my story had no expedient coincidences or too convenient details that would have existed in a daydream or a delusion, and finally seemed to want to believe me. I'm just gonna say that the forest ranger part, that's a little I don't know, it's kind of like, thank God that happened, because without that everything would have failed. You know, that kind of thing. Going for it. So, do you still think I went to the festival and lost my memory? Coach slowly shook his head. But everyone in class, they said I was at the festival yesterday. Is that even possible? No, it's not. Your classmates probably mistook you for someone who looked very similar. Then, given how group psychology works, everyone just assumed that you had been at the festival. They couldn't have mistaken me. Me and all the rest said they were spending time with Keiichi and Maebara. It was much more than just having mistook someone else for me. But saying that out loud would just confuse Coach. He spoke to me in whispered tones. Do you feel guilty at all? It didn't sound like he was criticizing me. And even if he had, I would have flatly said the same thing. I don't. I did it so we could return to peaceful days that he'd stolen from us. So I planned to forget all about having killed him in my life and live my life as usual. And once Satoko's regular smile returned to the one from before he showed up, everything will finally be over. Yeah, you're a fucking sociopath. Any chances that someone witnessed the crime? I don't think so. If someone had seen me, I would have been arrested already. I am a doctor. My job is to save lives, so I cannot make any statements to the effect of condoning the taking of another's life. So instead I will say this. Coach slowly rose and placed a hand on my shoulder. For saving Satoko, I thank you. Coach's eyes started shedding warm tears. Aww. When I looked at him, I started to feel some tears of my own. I didn't know what I was crying for. And so for a little while, the two men in the room fought back their tears. But it's strange. What is it? I'm sure I killed him, and yet he seems to have returned home alive. Coach's expression immediately sharpened. Depending on the situation, there are many things that mere unconsciousness can look like real death to a layperson. Do you think it's possible he was just knocked out? I didn't check for a pulse, but I'm pretty sure I did him in. Can I ask you to reproduce the situation in which you attacked him, Maebara? Coach rolled up a health and fitness week poster nearby and offered it to me to represent the bat. Though I may have lost to the motions of a beast that night, I remembered in detail the number of times I swung the bat at angles I had swung from and the force I had applied. Using Coach as a stand-in for the uncle, I reproduced them over one by one. And when he tripped and fell, I bashed him in the head, on the top of the head like this. When I did, it felt different from the other strikes. I thought I'd cracked his skull. Coach was calmly analyzing this information, using the places I'd struck in situation at hand, to find out the state of Uncle's body had been in. I wasn't totally sure he was dead, so I hit him a few more times after he fell. Did he react at all? At first I sort of felt his body jolt with every hit, but eventually that stopped too and he didn't react at all. Coach folded his arms and said, a few times. Again, like I said, I think he killed the wrong person. I think Satoko's uncle sent out, like, just say a random person, and that person died. And then he spoke. He's dead. There's not much doubt about that. He didn't just look like he was. I can't say very much from just your story, Mayabara, but I think it's almost certain. Besides, you buried the corpse in the mud, and that took you quite a bit of time, right? Let's say it took you 30 minutes. That would mean he was buried under the muddy water for those 30 minutes. If you don't breathe for that long, your brain will die no matter what. You mean even ignoring how hard I hit him, he would have definitely died while I was burying him. That's right. It's impossible to stay alive buried underground for 30 minutes. Impossible. You're right. But Satoko, she said he's alive. Coach, a doctor, just gave his stamp of approval that he was dead for sure. That made it seem all the more unfair that he could still be among the living. Mayabara, this is a really horrible idea, but is it possible that the person you killed wasn't actually your uncle? Huh? He's right. That could be why. It cleared up the inconsistency of my definitely having killed someone, but him still being alive. There's no way. I'm telling you, he fucking did. I'm telling you, he fucking did it. He fucking killed him. The wrong person. I mean, we were both at Satoko's house when she was bringing his alcohol inside, and there was a man who stuck his face out the window to look. It was him, right? That was Satoko's uncle, right? Yeah, you're not wrong. It was that man. Could she have been more than one uncle or something? Not one that I've ever heard of. It's just him. Could you tell me what he looked like? Well, his height first. He was about 175 centimeters, maybe a little taller. Fuck me. Time to get the fucking calculator changing back to centimeters to feet and inches. How short is that? 5'8". Okay, well, basically 5'9". Which that's kind of shortish, I guess. It's a little. Is that taller than the U.S. average? I think it is. I think it's shorter. I think the U.S. average is 5'10". I think that's shorter. I know he's definitely fucking shorter than me. In order to eliminate the worst possibility that I had killed someone else, Coach began to thoroughly compare what the man in his mind looked like with what I had told him in person. I killed looked like. But no matter how in-depth my description went, none of the characteristics differed. The uncle's traits, according to Coach, were all exactly the same as the person I'd killed. But those traits were all extremely vague, but they weren't particularly distinct at a glance. Is there anything else about him that would let us identify him for sure? Now that you mention it, I've never seen it, but I believe Satoko once said a long time ago he had a tattoo of a tiger or something on his back. A tattoo? That was really important. Not everyone had a tattoo. If I found a tiger tattoo on the back of the man's corpse, it would be proof I'd killed the right one. At the moment, though, there was one other thing that would verify this. To go to Satoko's house to see for myself the uncle that had returned home despite having died. But that was far more terrifying than digging up the body and looking at its back. Without even looking at the tattoo, I knew for sure the one I had killed had been Satoko's uncle. I cracked his head open and killed him. And yet he'd gone back home. There wasn't any misunderstanding or even the shadow of a doubt in my mind about having killed him. And yet, it was impossible for him to exist. Kind of like how Keiichi Mayabara had been at the festival despite it being impossible. That small commonality made me feel as though a faint but bizarre force was permeating this insane Hinamizawa. I wonder what on earth could have happened. Despite you not going to the festival and killing Satoka's uncle. You were at the festival and the uncle you killed is alive. None of this makes any sense. And when I look at everything that way, it's almost like I'm just having a nightmare and there's no killer at all. But it's the truth. The sensation as I used my own hands, and that bat to smash him again and again, it was no dream, illusion or dream. This game's fucking me up. Coach let out a slow sigh and then, after looking at the clock, got up. Let's go over this a little more seriously. If you'll excuse me, I'll put on some tea. Clinic's about to close after all. I need to let the other employees leave. Obviously. Coach stood up and went out into the hallway, leaving me alone. The clock was about to strike 6. I was at the festival and the uncle I had killed was alive. Had I really committed murder yesterday? The only whisper of a fact that proved it happened was the absence of that bat from Satoshi's locker. In any case, I was glad that Coach had taken my nonsense seriously. I just confessed to murder. Yeah, you can never take that lightly. That's a serious topic. Normally that would frighten a person away. But Coach didn't run, he cried with me. I was glad he did. Like so, my tension smoothly melted away and I suddenly realized I really had to urinate. I thought to use the restroom while Coach had stepped out. There was one across from the waiting room. As soon as I left the room, I saw Coach and 2 male doctors wearing white clothing standing in the shadows of the hallway nearby. I didn't particularly intend to eavesdrop or anything, but I was quite surprised upon noticing how uneasy they seemed. I hid behind the wall and quietly listened in. It seemed like Coach was giving directions to the 2 doctors. Black tea. I'll make some. Mix in God fucking damn it. Amobarbital or Ravenol. Yeah, Ravenol. Cover the taste with milk and sugar. He may grow suspicious at the sudden onset of drowsiness. It's possible he may get agitated and become violent. We will handle that. How many male staff are still here? 1 mountain dog, including us 3. What was all this? I think I was already agitated despite what Coach said. Was that it? Was it just casual conversation and it was only sounding unbelievable to me? Coach said he would bring some black tea and left the room. And then in the shadows he was telling his subordinates to put some kind of sleeping powder in the tea. Plus they were getting extra help, in case I thought of the sudden sleepiness was suspicious and started getting violent. Hey wait, Keiichi Maebara. Calm down. There's no way something this stupid could be happening. I mean, he was genuinely listening to my story, and he even cried with me. I thought he was the one person in Hinamizawa who would understand. This was. There's signs of fabrications of or falsehoods, and in his memories of yesterday in particular, he's completely confused. He can no longer tell truth from falsehood. It's quite similar to multiple personality disorder. But as far how quickly this mental disorder emerged, it's just not normal. Maybe it's inborn, or perhaps there were signs of it before he moved here. I'd like to take a look at any records of him staying in a mental hospital before he moved here. In any case, I want him to take a quiet nap. The 2 doctors nodded deeply. I should probably contact Maebara's parents too, though I cannot think of what to tell them. Please find his home phone number for me. My eyes still moist began to shed tears once more. This was too cruel. I really thought he had actually understood and had believed what I had told him. But now from the other side of that wall, he was bluntly treating me like a crazy person. That's because you are. No, he just made up this bullshit. I believed you. I had let down my guard because I thought you were the only ally I had left after that insane night. Was that a lie? All that about thanking me on Satoka's behalf, or were you just pretending in order to keep me placated? Ugh. My tears fell to the floor in frustration. I was an idiot. I was such an idiot for believing that bastard. I heard footsteps approaching the doctors. A man in a dress shirt with no tie came running up. Dr. Ire, it's terrible. They found Takano. Takano? Wait, where? Well, apparently they discovered her burned corpse in Mountain Gifu. She's dead? Takano. The men all surprised exchanged glances. Dead? Takano. Hey, wait, so then does that mean when I cursed her, wishing for her death, that wish was granted? What do you mean burned corpse? Wasn't an accident. According to the Gifu police statement, the possibility is extremely high that she was murdered. As I cried, I laughed quietly. Serves you right, serves you right. If I hadn't run into that woman, my murder would have been perfect. But she just had to come driving up to me and tried to coerce me like that. I regretted not having killed her on the spot, but now she was dead anyway. I cursed my wish for her demise, it was fulfilled. Serves you right. Serves you right. Risa died and Takano died. What on earth could be happening in Hinamizawa? Who's Risa? Don't tell me that this was all Oyashiro-sama's curse for this year. Like hell, I'll let the curse be... Like hell, I'll let the curse be real, Coach said. Everyone present just nodded as Coach cursed and no one in particular. Yes, maybe it wasn't Oyashiro-sama, but this was definitely a curse. I wished for her to die. So she did. If this wasn't just a coincidence and she died because I wished for it, then you'll die next, Coach. You betrayed me. You pretended to believe me, but deep down you thought I was a madman. You looked down on me with all that pity in your eyes. For now, get the black tea ready. I'll bring it inside. I don't think he'd let anyone besides me be alone with him. Shit. What do I do? What do I do, Keiichi Maebara? This time I heard the voice of a nurse. Dr. Ire. Oh, there you are. You have a phone call. I'm a little busy at the moment, so please tell them I'll call back. Who was it from? A Mr. Oishi from the Okinomiya Police Department. Ugh, sheesh, what bad timing. Alright, I'll answer it. Coach left to go answer the phone. The other men headed towards the room with the teapot to make the black tea like Coach had ordered them to. Time to leave. Fortunately, Coach having to take that phone call meant that there would be extra time for me to act. I had to decide what to do now. Would I let me drink the sedative-infused tea, or be held down and thrown into a mental hospital? Nothing would come from starting a brawl here. They had more people anyway, and they were all bigger than me. If I came to a fight, I didn't stand a chance in hell. If I couldn't win against them, then there was only one thing left to do. Run. Adrenaline suddenly rushed into my brain, and my body started to move with keen instinct like it had on that night. I mean, fuck it, leave. Why not? My surface temperature quickly cooled, and the transmission routes between my cells enlarged. Using 360 degrees visual information, I searched for an escape route. I would open the window behind me. Outside was a parking lot. There was no cars. A little beyond there was the bicycle I had taken to get here. I determined that this would be the quickest method of escape. I approached the window swiftly, but with little sound, to raise as little suspicion as I could. With the speed and silence of a shadow, like I had on that night, I chased her uncle. I unlocked the window and opened it. A cool evening breeze wafted in. I stuck my head out and looked over the parking lot again. Nobody in sight. No need to hesitate. I quickly crawled outside and closed the window behind me. I held my breath and listened carefully. Nobody seemed to have realized I'd run. I looked around, and then I jumped onto my bike and zoomed away.